But Nick, the midterms. Now, this is something I don't want to say I even overall disagree with you. But I have trouble with it in general. You say punish the Republicans. Any party in almost every case that wins the main election, general election, for people that don't know most of you do, loses about 95% of the time in the midterm, but then that catapults them generally with a better shot of winning in the general election. But then the issue is, I know you don't like J.D. Vance, not compared to Marco Rubio, the neocon. He's an angel cake. But in the polls, it's Rubio's, not on the grassroots, people like him better for whatever reason. So looking at that, how does voting Democrat, when they're just going to open the borders again and, probably try to pack the Supreme Court, how does that, I get that would definitely punish the Republicans. But Lindsey Graham said a few days ago on Fox News, he doesn't care about losing the midterms. So a lot of the neocons, in a way, want to do that and go back to power sharing with Democrats. So I've heard your arguments, but convince me of why this is the right way to go. Because here you are endorsing Massey, in the primary. Would you endorse him then over the Democrat if he wins? I'm trying to understand this.
Absolutely. And I endorse him in the primary, endorse him in the general. But I do believe that in this race, we got to take a couple steps back. And the reason being is because, look, this administration's a complete and total failure on the two things it promised to do. I think the reasons that they voted for Trump, and by they, I mean Republicans, there are really three big issues. They wanted no new wars. They wanted mass deportations because Biden brought in 10, 20 million illegal aliens, and they wanted inflation under control. Those were the big three. Well, we are in a new war with Iran. The war in Ukraine is still going. There's no mass deportations. They effectively canceled those, and they didn't even really try. And then inflation is now ticking back up at the fastest pace in 2-3 years since 2023. The new number came in from April. I think it's 3.8%. It's going up by, and it's only going to get worse as the effects of the energy shock are priced in. So you look at those big three, and you can just objectively say, okay, they failed. They let us down. And what's more, and I said this to Steven Crowder, it's not that they couldn't keep the promises. They chose not to, and they were hoping that we would continue to support them anyway. Like with mass deportations, they have $200 billion from the big, beautiful bill for mass deportations. That was the whole point. And think of what they did. They cut Medicaid by $800 billion to support a 10% permanent reduction in the corporate tax cut. And the give me for the Republican base was, well, this is okay because we're going to give you $200 billion to build a wall, have the deportations, hire the ICE agents, buy the detention centers. And by the way, it took about 6 months for that money to hit DHS. Took them 6 months to hire 10,000 ICE agents. They've only started to buy these detention centers. So it was just about at the beginning of the year when they were able to keep the promise. And what happened is the mass deportations became unpopular. And not only that, but they also threatened to derail the economy because you start deporting people from the Hyundai production facilities, the meat processing plants, from the Home Depot parking lots, from, as Trump calls them, the luncheonettes, from hospitality, from the farms. Now the donors are going to get upset because it's like the donors profit from the cheap labor. So Trump effectively said, we're not doing it anymore. We're not going to deport illegal aliens that have jobs because it's going to hurt Wall Street. It's going to hurt the donors.
Guys, how are we still surprised by this? This just shows you that this whole Trump administration is one big scam almost. And believe me, Trump knew exactly what he was doing from the first day. Everything what he promises, he knew already that this could never, ever happen.
Visas.
Yes, and he defended that.
Student visas.
He defended that in Beijing last week. He said, well, we need the Chinese to buy the farmland. We need the Chinese students to support the universities. So they made a conscious decision to betray us on Iran, on deportations. And I think there's literally no other option other than to say, we're going to vote for the enemies of every Republican that did this. Thomas Massey is one of the
I get that if people do their studying and vote for America First good candidates. But then I guess I can see them not voting for rhinos because they're almost even worse. That makes sense. So maybe, and I know you've been more nuanced. The media spun what you said. So you're being clear. Do your research and do not vote for neocon, pro-nuclear war, Israeli operative Republicans.
You could. That's so much longer, though. That's a mouthful because there's really two Republicans that are good.
But I could support that. But I could suppose there's a lot of them. Come on.
There's Ken Paxton, who's excellent in
By the
Texas.
way, Trump just endorsed him over Cornyn. Did you see that?
I did, and that is actually a really refreshing surprise because I thought he was going to go for Cornyn. He's been getting cucked by the Senate for a long time, so that's an excellent endorsement. Massey's great. Fishback in Florida. There are some bright spots, but by and large, we're doing this project at my nonprofit. We're going to rate every congressman looking at their voting record. How America First are they on immigration, foreign policy, trade? And what we found, we looked at the data. is it's like every Republican is an F, is a C, a D, an F on America First. So that's why I say, look, we're just voting Democrat. There's some exceptions. Those are some of them: Paxton, Massey, Fishback. These are good guys. But by and large, the Republicans let us down and they got to be punished. Now, I will make it clear, I want a Republican to win in 28. To me, that's a different ballgame.
Yeah, but who would that be? So let's bring up the main field. It's two people, and that's Rubio and Vance. So
I want it to be neither. And that's the other reason why you say Democrats winning the midterms will help the Democrats. Yeah, I want them to hurt everybody in the administration because Democrats will have oversight powers in the House. I want them to impeach Trump. I want them, and I don't want them to get a conviction, but I want them to make the indictment. I want them to subpoena everybody. I want this administration to slide further in the approval ratings. That's the only thing that's going to make an opening. Because what a lot of people don't maybe understand, and you understand this because you understand politics, the way it's shaping up right now is that it is a two-man race. It's a classic two-man. It's Vance, it's Rubio. The party will coalesce behind one of them, and probably the other one will bow out, if it's even a fight at all. And
so why are you mainly on Vance's ass when, I mean, I'll just tell you point blank, I think he's way better than Rubio.
I probably agree with that. However, I still don't think Vance is acceptable. I don't think either of them are acceptable, and I think that both need to be severely weakened by their proximity to the Trump administration so that someone else, the only way that we're going to get anyone else is if the Trump administration becomes so unpopular that people have an appetite for someone that isn't in the Trump administration.
Anyways, we need to, I hope Trump would do better, but we need to devalue him and get him off the plate. The insider trading makes Pelosi blush. I'm not going to lie to people. It's over the frickin' top. He says he's going to pardon the entire administration. This is a disgrace. I will not tie my name.
And I think it should, they should feel this pain. And look, Vance and Rubio are part of this administration. I want them to go down with the ship, basically, because that's the only way there's going to be room for somebody else. You know, we want a competition. We want a primary. We want another option. Another option will not even.
Do you think a Massey Paul ticket?
No, I don't want a libertarian. And I like Thomas Massey, but I don't think he's presidential material. I'm thinking there can be. I have some people in mind, but I don't want to blow up their spot. I don't want them to be the Fuentes candidate or something like that. But I think there's some other people that have talked about running in the past, and I don't want to make it.
Or anything. Who is he talking about? Now I'm curious. I think Tucker Carlson, and I think Tucker would be a better option, of course, than J.D. Plant or Marco Rubio. But what I don't understand, many people there always think, all right, if I'm going to vote for this person, it's going to make a difference. Guys, it's not people. It's not one person who can make a big change. The problem is political parties in this whole political system. That's the biggest problem. I said this multiple times already, but many people, even Nick and even Alex Jones, they already think, all right, if we have another candidate, he can make a real change. That's not going to happen. As long as you have these two parties, the same coin with two different sides, we will always have the same problems. Because believe me, the person is not going to make any difference because he's also has to work for the biggest donors. He's also under pressure from many other people in the same party. It's not going to work. Every time people are telling us, all right, we just need one America First guy and he can really solve many problems. They literally pictured Trump like this. They literally said that Trump was going to be this guy. Look what happened with Trump. It's even worse than almost the Biden administration. Trump said that he was going to be different, drain the swamp, golden age. You America First, make America great again, all this nonsense, you know this by now. And look what Trump did with us. He brought us into a war. He covered up the Epstein files. He gave Israel a golden age instead of America a golden age. So stop pointing at other people. This guy's going to make a real difference. I hope you get the point I'm trying to make. But it's just to make us believe that we still have some power with our vote. All right, we can vote for this person, then we can make a real difference. It's nonsense. As long as we have the same parties, the Republicans, the Democrats, no matter who you're going to choose for, it will always probably be Israel first. It will always be make Israel great again instead of making America great again. And maybe I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is so stupid. We need a third party, or we need to get rid of the Democrat Party and the Republican Party, and we need something completely new. How many years are we already stuck in this political system? And every time, after 4 years, we think we can make a difference with our vote, and every time it turns out that it's, after 2 weeks, we find out that we have been betrayed again, and then we have to wait for another 4 years. It's such a nonsense. It's almost like a game that they want us to believe that we can really make a difference with our vote. But then I have to ask you this question. If you really think that we could make a change with our vote, do you really believe that they would let us vote? I don't think so. There was almost out of time. I feel that she's on you. Let's talk about, at the end of the day, what really matters, where people can do something. Okay.
The only way I made money was through viewer donations. People watch the show, they tip me $20 is the minimum. I read their chat on the air. The processor that does that service for us was called Entropy. Well, a couple weeks ago, the Canadian Broadcasting Company, which is state-run media, launched an investigation into Entropy. Now, Entropy is headquartered in Asia. I'm not going to say where. They do their payment processing in Europe. The CBC sent a reporter to Asia to literally knock on the door of their residence, doing this investigative report about how they're processing payments for me, and all their banks shut them down the next week. The whole enterprise shut down a week after that report came out. So this service that we've used for, I think, maybe 3-5 years, they processed tons of my payments. They got shut down because a Canadian state-sponsored media outlet.
$800 million a year from the Canadian government to the media. Let's explain how this works. Brian Stelter and Oliver Darcy headed up the group that would harass me and everybody else. They would target any sponsor, harass them. They would drop us. Same thing now with the Onion guy with Bloomberg funding. He was the guy that did that at MSNBC. Okay, so people understand this is how they do it. So people need to understand this is not some cakewalk. This is 100% real, as you can see. You know, people, we fought so long and saved InfoWars so long, they go, oh, that's fake. It's not, no, this is 100% real, and it's only those of you supporting us that's doing this. And you're absolutely right, Nick. I've seen you tell your audience, the way to beat tyranny is to become successful and to back people that back you. And we need the funds. It is so simple. And I saw those articles starting a month ago all over the place. Nick Fuentes raises $900,000 a year off super chats. That's nothing, ladies and gentlemen, when you've got to run all this and pay for servers and all of it. And Nick needs security. So do I. We've got it. But we are maxed out in war mode against the globalist. You want people to literally engage in the frontline war. We're doing it. This is it. This is the real deal. So the AlexJonesStore.com. Go there. Become a VIP. $30 a month. Canceling time for free. $40 to spend special offers. Go to Fuentes Store. Great designs. And support him, because, Nick, you don't do that enough. And I've told you privately, and I've told us.
Totally true. That's totally how it is. And you got to consider, I mean, on the other side, it's an unlimited war chest. When you're talking about DOJ, ADL, SPLC, who they just indicted last week, which was actually really positive, SPLC has $800 million in an offshore bank account. I got a call from the Washington Post. You mentioned they did this big spread about me talking about my super chats. They said, we did an AI program. We took a screenshot of your show every 1 second for a year. We found you raised $900,000. I want to say to the Washington Post, SPLC has $800 million in some offshore Caribbean bank account or something like this, some kind of arrangement like that. Where is the microscope on that source of funding? Where is the microscope on that kind of influence from the far left, from the institutional right? It just isn't there. And you're right.
Yeah, this is actually insane. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but like 3 weeks ago, the Washington Post did like a whole article about like Nick Fuentes and like his super chatters, how much money he made. And like they made a screenshot of almost every donation. I think they almost made like 800,000 screenshots or something. It's ridiculous. Look how they're like investigating this man just because he's like doing his own show, and you have people like supporting him, and then they are surprised that Nick is making money of that. Of course, like he's doing a show almost every night. You have people who support him, and then they're going after these people who support him. It's actually crazy, because exactly, look how much money like the ADL, for example, have, and all these other big organizations. They have millions, almost billions. You'd never hear like the Washington Post write an article about that. No, they're going behind Nick Fuentes, who just makes like $1 million a year. Okay, it is a lot of money, don't get me wrong. But also, like, look what he's doing. He's doing a lot of work, and he probably makes way more money than that. I believe he makes way more. But of course, people support him for everything what he's doing. And I think it's also like, if you like, for example, Alex Jones, if you like Nick Fuentes, make sure to support him. It's very, very important, because, yeah, I don't have to repeat what I just said. If they don't have any supporters, they cannot do their work anymore. They don't have like big donors who give them like millions of dollars anyway, like, for example, Barry Weiss. Like, they have to do this because of the donors. They can do this. And of course, they try to silence these people. That's the thing. If they don't agree with, like, because what a surprise that they try to like silence, for example, Candace Owens, that they try to like silence Nick Fuentes, that they tried to silence Alex Jones, because they are one of the few people left in this country with like a big audience who is trying to expose what, for example, the Israel lobby is doing, is trying to criticize, for example, what Trump is doing. And then you have many powerful people who rather want these people to be silenced, that no one will listen to them anymore because they fear them. And that says already enough.
Let me tell you, Joseph Farah at WorldNet Daily, great guy before he had a stroke, still a great guy. This is like 12 years ago now or whatever. He sued and got the Clinton Foundation documents, not their global initiative, the actual library in Little Rock. And you know what the first meetings at the White House were? And before they got in the White House, he was president-elect. It was about Clinton Chronicle, documentary makers, and some newsletters. And they said, conservatism and populism is very popular. If we let these little things operate, selling T-shirts and VHS tapes, it will grow into a grassroots and will be defeated. So we've got to audit them, sue them, try to put them in prison, put the DOJ on them, just like targeting Christian NGOs. It's the same deal. Okay, folks, they are scared of a populist economy. In a war, it is literally your insurance. If conservatives look at the Israel lobby, they put their money in, they run everything. My God. And by the way, the SPLC is globalist intelligence agencies. They infiltrated us. They tried to set us up. They did everything. Folks, we are literally taking on, let me tell you, the SPLC is a NATO group. Literally, I have the documents, I've covered it decades ago, run so the CIA can hide it under NATO, okay? SPLC is literally German intelligence, okay? MI6 and Mossad, okay? That's who we're up against, okay? And of course they run all the Nazi groups that get up there with low IQ crap and you know, who's the Nazis in the red outfits, Blood Tribe, and all that crap. But notice who wasn't on the list as an agent. It wasn't Nick Fuentes. It wasn't Alex Jones. You don't have high IQ, eloquent people calling for all this stuff. You think the globalists want us? But the people, it was always the white supremacists. Like I told you, literally saying I was a Jewish agent because I was high IQing all of this. They are doing that as a talking point on purpose, Nick.
That's 100% right. That is how they operate. I think I talked about that when you first got sued by the Sandy Hook parents. There is a fundamental
Democrat Party, yeah.
Right. The left-wing activist that basically sought out a plaintiff to destroy you is really what happened. But I said he did even back then. There is a deep relationship between free speech, money, and political opposition. A lot of people think free speech is about the ability, like this recent case last week, to be vulgar. It's about going out in public and saying obscenities or something like this. The purpose of free speech is political speech, and specifically political opposition.
Political is the most protected.
Yes, and specifically opposition, because it is political speech that is opposed to the regime, which poses the biggest threat, because speech is what organizes people. Speech is what gets people to vote. Speech is what gets people to rally and so on. And according to the Supreme Court, speech is money. According to Citizens United, the reason there's unlimited spending on super PACs from the rich is because they say giving somebody $1 is a form of speech. And so what you find is that the size of your megaphone or platform is determined by money. If you have billions of dollars, you can buy the Washington Post, you can buy Twitch, you can buy a platform. In other words, you can buy the
TikTok,
megaphone.
You can buy TikTok. And then that's the thing.
Right.
I have these meetings off record, and I don't violate it because it's not criminal. So if I have a private meeting with a globalist, and I've probably had 20 of them over the years, higher and higher levels, very highest levels. Kistner tried to give me a job in front of a producer so I could talk about it because they didn't say that was secret. So I went and told it. Before they all sued me, they had this top Republican law firm that I had writing reports to the president because he would ask, well, give me a report. And then one guy that ran it's like wife was the head of a major federal agency, and I meet with them. They go, oh, so people want to meet with you. Can you come to town next week? So I'm up at this big high rise. It looked like network with the big table and the green lights and all that. And they go, listen, you're about to get sued for all this stuff. You're going to be destroyed. But if you come in and work for us, you'll be a fact checker, a reform guy. How's $50 million a year for your salary sound? And I said, no. And they went, well, you're going to be destroyed. You know that? You're really a fool. We don't get paid that. They said, you're so talented. Oh, you're so great. Kissing my ass. And I said, no. Then they try to go to my family and people to get them on board. Okay. So my point is these people that said this for money, I'll die for this. I've already turned down $50 million. Roger Ailes, 15, 16 years ago, tried to hire me, said, do a weekend show for 6 months. We'll put you on top of the thing. The Limbaugh had heart problems. They thought he would die early. He was out in Hawaii. They said, we want you to put you on Limbaugh show right now. I mean, so my point is, I am proven. So are you. We are proven to tell the truth. We are proven under attack. And it is so retarded for people to deny otherwise. And I know how real the New World Order is because I could snap my fingers and still sell out. But it's impossible because I won't sign on to all this evil crap they're involved.
And this, guys, this is why I really like Alex Jones, because he's a real warrior. I don't know if everything what he said, if that's true, but if that's really the case, you're a legend, man. Seriously, never ever sell your soul. But this is seriously what they are trying to do, right? First, they try to buy you. If they can't silence you, they just try to buy you, to change your opinion, to maybe work in favor of them. If that's not gonna work, they will try to bankrupt you. That's exactly with all these lawsuits. That's exactly what they did with Alex Jones. That's exactly what they're doing now with Candace Owens, with all these lawsuits with the Macron family, the Daily Wire. Also, how expensive these lawsuits are, and it's almost impossible to pay for all these lawsuits by yourself. And all these powerful organizations, for example, the Israel Lobby, Daily Wire, all these organizations, the Macron family, they almost have unlimited money, right? So they will try to make you bankrupt or also fear other people, all right? Look, if you're going to talk about this, look what will happen with you. You will go bankrupt, for example, Alex Jones. So that's just how it goes. And then almost you have third option. I don't even want to talk about it. If they can't silence you, they will maybe try something else with you. Like a Charlie Kirk or maybe a JFK, I don't know. You probably get the point, but this is just so unfair. And isn't it like with all these independent people that they are becoming more popular now day after day? Meanwhile, the mainstream media, no one is watching them anymore. But somehow they still try to silence these people who are independent with their own platform. Why? Again, exactly what I said. We still have freedom of speech and people can decide for themselves if they want to support these people, right? And even true in it, then they're still trying to like these people. They try to like the people who are supporting them. These people are wrong. But wait, why are they why is the Washington Post never making an article exactly about the Israel lobby? Why are they never looking up to the other side? They're always pointing to one side and they completely forget about what the other side is doing. And what the other side is doing is 10 times worse. They have way more money. They influence almost the whole country. And they are never talking about that because surprise, like Lupo was the owner of the Washington Post. And this is almost how it goes with all. They try to control so many things that even the people who have a small percentage of control all by themselves, for example, influencers, for example, other shows, even then, they try to silence these people because they want full control, so no one else can criticize, expose these people. It's crazy. It's actually crazy.
Me neither. Me neither. And you're totally right. I mean, that it is a gate-kept situation. The only people that are allowed to rise to those levels are people that have been through that initiation process. So,
and I'll just say this off record. I'm not going to say names or anything. I've advised you with some of the top globalists, the one or quasi-globalists, the top people want to meet with you. I said, don't meet with them because you're going to sell out to them. It's a weird thing, though, that if you at least said no to them, then it's like a different deal. You see what I'm saying? Because, I'm worried about you, buddy.
I'm worried about me too, but fortunately, I haven't met with anybody, and nobody's tried to bump me off or anything, at least as far as I know, except for what happened a couple of years ago.
Meetings, they've sat around talking about whacking you, buddy. Like, that's been discussed.
Yeah, I assume so. But I put on the, we all have to go at some point. So
I agree. All I'm saying is I want them to know they're on the, I tell you, these globalists I've known over the years, they now are actually want out of it. That's how much trouble they're in. They're all building bunkers.
We got to get in the bunker business, man. You and me. Which country are we going to when a Democrat wins in 28?
They say the Southern Hemisphere is a lot safer in a nuclear war, but I think it's still all going to collapse under that. Well, listen, in closing, we got 2 minutes left. Nick Fuentes, another amazing interview, probably the best ever. I hope Massey wins tonight. I'm not making a prediction. I just have a bad feeling, but maybe I'm wrong. I'll be up late tonight covering it. You'll be on. You doing a live stream tonight?
Yes, I'll be on, I think, 9:30, 10 o'clock, and we'll be covering all the results from the race. Hopefully he pulls it out, but it doesn't look good right now, at least in the betting markets.
Well, you never have guests. I want on your show.
We're kind of changing our configuration here. We're going to do it. I'm going to start having guests. I'd like to have you up in Chicago. Let's do it in person.
Absolutely. I would love to see that because now they're always live streaming with each other. They should meet each other in person. And Nick also should invite more guests on his show. Many times he's just talking by himself, and many times I agree with him. But sometimes you don't have another voice who is criticizing also the things what Nick is saying. For example, his own show. I'm the one who is doing this sometimes, but I also wish there was just someone in Nick's show sometimes who also could tell, no, what you're saying now is completely wrong, or this is right, or this is stupid, because it's like this. You get the point I'm trying to make. So if Alex Jones can be this guy, they should meet each other in person. And this goes for all of them. All these people on the right-wing side, on the conservative side, however you want to call this. If they would work together more, believe me, they would be way stronger, and it would be way harder to destroy these people, to try to silence these people. I wish that all these people, they would make such a strong movement that it's almost impossible to silence them. Imagine if you had one podcast with, for example, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Alex Jones, Nick Fuentes. That would be great, right? Almost everyone will listen to this, and then they can share their real values. Then they can share their real opinions to a bigger audience. Because now it's all separated. Some people, they only watch Candace. Some people, they only watch Nick. Some people only watch Alex. Imagine if they would all work together. That would be great, and then almost no one can silence them because they are too big to be ignored, right? I really wish this will ever happen, and maybe this is going to be the start. Alex Jones meeting Nick Fuentes in person. Great, I like that. I can't wait to see this episode where Alex Jones is joining Nick Fuentes. Can't wait for that, and I hope it will happen in the near future. But again, guys, I'm very curious about European. What do you think about this whole Trump administration? What do you think, by the way, about this war with Iran? People, we are still in a war with Iran. It's crazy, right? You barely hear anyone talk about it. Today, more people are talking about this as well. But isn't it kind of crazy that we have a guy in office now who campaigned with no more wars, and we're almost a war for free, but with a very powerful country like us. It's very powerful. They want us to believe that we almost like this war, that we defeated them. It's nonsense. They almost like us. But again, like that's not a discussion for now. But I'm just curious about Europe. And we agree with Alex and Nick on this one. Isn't it like crazy that you have like a powerful global is trying to like stem because they just have like an independent platform and many people they support them. Like joke, right? We still have freedom of speech. We have a First Amendment, and even true, they still try to silence these people with like a different opinion what these globalists don't like. Kind of right. But let me know what you think about it. It's very important to say. I read all comments. I even try to reply to some of your comments. I'm very curious as well, guys. I want to say this. Thank you guys for the 80,000 subscribers. You guys are the best. On my way to 100K subscribers. So if you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe. I would really appreciate it. If you really like these kind of videos, please like as well. I would appreciate it even more. And then you make sure you don't miss anything as well, especially if you're subscribed to me. Thank you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.